Okay, so I'm going to take my channel EQ. I'm going to get rid of it. Press delete key, goes away. I'm going to throw an EQ8 on that same track. Okay, so now we have effectively the same thing, but a lot more control. With EQ8, we have 8 points versus the 3 we had before, right? Before we had low, mids, and highs. Now we have 8, and they're not called low, mids, and highs because they can be whatever we want them to be. We can move them around. So we have a lot more control here. Okay, so you're seeing 4 points. So I can say I want this point to be, I want to boost the low end, cut the low end, boost this range, cut this range, this range, and the highs. I have 8 total. The top 4 are turned off at the moment. Let's turn on all 8. Okay, now all 8 are on. Okay, so right now all we're doing is really cutting the very high end with this 8th one. You'll see that each one of these can be a different type of filter. This one is different than all the rest. This one is called a low pass filter. That means it's going to let low stuff through it. Things under it are going to go through. High things above it are going to get cut off. So this is going to cut off all the high stuff. And it's set to be super high, so we're not really going to hear it doing very much here. Unless we really pull it down. Okay, so let's do the opposite of that all the way on the other side. So we'll do a high pass here. So we cut off any low stuff, really low stuff. Okay, now let's go after this frequency right here. Let's see if we can boost just that frequency. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is try to find that frequency by really boosting it. I'm not going to leave it this way because I don't want to just boost this frequency a whole bunch. It's going to be a little, it's probably going to clip if I do that. But I like to just boost things a lot to find them, and then I can kind of dial it in what I really want to do with it. So let's find that. There it is. Hear that? And I get right over that frequency. I get a big bump in volume. I can get even narrower on it by adjusting the Q here. You see how I've got this point where this 2 is, but then we kind of slope away from it. If you want to tighten up that slope, that's called the Q. Okay, that's this knob down here. Okay, and there it is. The gain is the same thing we're adjusting by moving it up and down. And the frequency moves it left to right. Okay, so these 3 knobs change depending on which filter you've selected. I'm on the 2 now. If I go over to 1, those are different. If I go over to 3, those are different. Now I can adjust 3, right, and do something else. Okay, so maybe what I want to do here, if I really want to boost that frequency, I don't need all of these. Don't even need that one. Let's just hone in right on that frequency. Right, let's use a high pass to cut out under it, a low pass to cut out everything above it, and a band pass, which is what that is, to boost right on it. And let's not boost too much. Okay, that's cool, but now I've lost all the buzziness and the character of that sound. So I'm going to add a little bit back in. Okay, it's cool. Now I have a really warm sound, right? I kind of like that. But you can see because I've boosted so much here, I've added a lot of volume. And I'm right on the edge of clipping here. So I'm going to pull that back, and then boost my gain a little bit. Okay, now I have basically the same thing. One cool thing about EQ8 is that it uses this kind of magical extra space that we saw in some effects earlier If we click here, we can get a much bigger EQ. Same thing, but just gives us more control. Okay, so we can tighten that up if we wanted to. Open this up a little bit more. Cool. So EQ8 gives you a lot of control. It's more of a razor blade than the channel EQ, which is more of like a hammer. So if you want to do any real EQing, really kind of pulling out frequencies, EQ8 is the best tool we have built into Live for that. Now EQ3 is a lot like channel EQ. It's a much more simple version of EQ8. So let's go and look at that one now.